Thank you so much for staying with us here on Primetime News, and we do apologize for that extended break. Now we return to an earlier story. Legal experts are strongly suggesting that Jamaica isolates jurors to minimize the possibility of interference. This as the Privy Council's ruling in the Vybz Kartel murder appeal case continues to dominate local discussion. As Giovanni Dennis reports, the Privy Council is also coming under fire for ignoring 2 of the 3 grounds for appeal in its judgment.
There have been suggestions to change the Jury Act to allow for judge-only trials. While that debate continues, Attorney at Law Clive Monroe Jr. believes jurors should be sequestered or isolated.
So how do you protect them from external elements and processes? And then we have to be conscious of the fact that this is happening in the backdrop of a discussion of whether or not we should have jury trials at all. So if you advance that we should have jury trials as a right, then you have to back it up with money to go with that right. And you have to protect jurors, and you have to expand the pool, and you have to make the stipend worth their while, and you have to make it in such a way that apart from the civic duty of it, that it becomes more difficult for them to be interfered with.
Speaking on Radio Jamaica's That's a Wrap, Mr. Monroe Jr. said he's disappointed the jury tampering issue has not been addressed since the 2014 Vybz Kartel trial, even after the tainted juror was charged, convicted, and subsequently freed. It's an issue another attorney, Kemoy McEachron, argues must be addressed thoroughly.
Also, do we need to get to the stage calling upon the Minister of Justice to consider, for example, how do we accommodate jurors? There are many other issues regarding jurors. We've been hearing for a number of years about the stipend. So the argument could be made, if we can't properly compensate the jurors for the time that they spend to be away from work, is the government going to be in a position to be able to put them up in hotels as is necessary and is required?
Now, the Privy Council ruled on Thursday that the murder convictions of Vybz Kartel and 3 others be quashed. Jamaica's Court of Appeal will now decide whether to allow a retrial or free the men. The Privy Council was, however, criticized for not addressing the other constitutional points raised in the appeal, namely that the telecommunications data was obtained in breach of the Interception of Communications Act, therefore breaching the accused men's constitutional right to privacy. A third ground of appeal, inviting the jury to come to a verdict late in the day, was also ignored.
The thing that jumped out for me in reading that judgment was the extent to which it became so clear that this is their extracurricular activity. We are not. Meaning, their real work are as law lords for the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom. So our Court of Appeal would have agonized over this, written hundreds of pages worth of judgments, and they essentially, contemptuously in my view, wrote a judgment that ignored all of the other arguments that were made. Say, oh, we can't get to them today, we'll get to them another time.
That is an issue that is larger than just this case itself, I would suggest, because it is a point and it's an issue that has come up in at least 2 cases, 2 other cases, this and 2 others. And so I think the police have done a lot of work in that regard, but we have to ensure that as we move forward, while we safeguard and we improve our investigative capacity of the police, that the constitutional rights of all of us, all Jamaicans, continue to be protected.
Giovanni Dennis, TVJ News.